I should share the stories in this country, because especially based on what we read in the newspaper, there's a lot of negativity, because it is
Yes.
all the negative news that sells the paper, right?
Hey everyone, I'm Shakiba from Markable team and welcome to Bubble Talking Show. As you know, Bubble Talking Show is a kind of travel talk in which we're gonna be talking with different travelers in all around the world and learn about their experience, their knowledge during this day. And now I have a very special and very kind guest, Juana. Hi.
Okay, so my name is Juvina. So my online moniker or nickname is the Wandering Was. I come from the tiny country of Singapore in Southeast Asia. And back in 2015, I rode this scooter. Oh, wait, can you see?
Yes, in your background.
Yeah, this scooter in the background. I rode it from Singapore to Czech Republic. I've always been a very avid motorcycle. I love to ride motorcycle and very much. And this scooter that I have here is my main mode of transportation when I'm in Singapore. But I also do use it to travel to nearby countries as well. So I often ride to the neighboring country of Malaysia and go as far as up to Thailand. And what I really love about traveling with a motorcycle is that it gives you a lot of flexibility and control over your travel. In the past, I've done backpacking before. So I've done backpacking in Vietnam, in Italy, and sometimes when I'm in the bus or in the train, and we will pass by some small towns, and sometimes I just wish I can just stop here for a while because this place looks interesting. But the thing is, I already have my bus or train ticket to head to a destination. I should share the stories in this country, because especially based on what we read in the newspaper, there's a lot of negativity, because it is all the negative news that sells the paper, right? Nobody is going to, I don't think newspaper is very likely to publish on a headline, oh, this woman traveled to 25 countries and she was safe and she's well after 2 years on the road traveling by herself.
Nobody buys
I don't think that. Yeah, nobody will buy the newspaper, is boring. But if there's news of what rape, murder, war, attacks, people dying, so the negative news sells. So I feel that, and also I feel that why it sells, because for us as a human being, we want to protect ourselves, so we are naturally inclined to negative news so that we know what to do to protect ourselves, right? So fear is actually a kind of like a defense mechanism to protect ourselves. But sometimes I feel that this fear, it can be very crippling, it can be debilitating. It's like you can do so much out there, but because of this fear, you don't dare to do it, and you don't give yourself the opportunity to try.
Yes, I know that. But you travel to Iran as a woman and you have a different experience, and also you travel to Iran as a solo woman, and it's maybe a new experience for those who may be scared. Could you tell us a little about your experience as a traveler who traveled to Iran and also as a woman?
I mean, it's not just Iran, but so many of the countries that I traveled to, I realized there are so many faces to a country. The reality on the ground is so much more complicated, and we cannot just paint the entire country and the people with one single label, right? Because on the ground it is so complicated. So for me, when I first entered Iran, I mean, don't even talk about perceptions of Iran itself from foreigners. Okay, because I was traveling on a scooter, I didn't arrive in the country through an international airport. I was traveling by land. So the country before Iran, it was in Pakistan. Yes, and I had to ride through this very volatile region called Balochistan. And I know that in Iran, they also have a province called Sistan Balochistan.
Yes.
Right, so I had to enter it from there, from the Medjugorje land border, and then I went to Zahedan. And honestly, in that place, there wasn't really a lot of tourists in Zahedan. Uh, and so I remember a lot of things, it wasn't very much catered to foreign travelers. It was more catered to local travelers. And I remember the inn that I stayed in, it has a shared toilet. Okay, so the toilet in the hall. So the toilet is not inside the room. We have to is on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
And the toilet signs, they are all in Persian.
Yes.
There was no symbols at all. and the thing about Iranian toilets is that in other countries, for the male toilets, they have the urinal. When the men, they can stand up and
Yes.
They're peeing. But in Iran, no. The male toilets in Iran, they do not have urinal.
Most of the people ask us about the process that you come to Iran with your vehicle.
Okay, actually, this process, it really depends on where you're from too. Because the procedure to get these documents is different from every country. So one of the documents that is required to enter Iran is called the Carnet de Passage. So Carnet de Passage is like a passport for your vehicle. It can be a car, it can be a motorcycle, and you need to apply in the country where your vehicle is registered. So like for example, my scooter is registered in Singapore. I have to go to the Automobile Association of Singapore to get this document called Carnet de Passage. Many of the countries in Asia and Africa requires this document. So you are not only applying it for Iran. So along my way, I had to use this document for Myanmar, India, Nepal, Pakistan, and then Iran. So this country requires this document. And I think also a lot of African countries also requires this document. Okay, so this document is normally used in countries where they impose a very high import tax on vehicle. Because I know in Iran, the import tax for cars, for motorcycles can be very high, right? Up to 500% of the vehicle, if I'm not wrong. So the countries, they don't want you to ride your vehicle into a country and then you sell the vehicle there and then you don't pay the tax.
Yes.
So you have to make a big deposit, and yes, the deposit is very high. It's the value of your motorcycle or your car.
And what about your visa? Do you use any agencies or you apply by yourself?
I did use an agency because I think it is easier to go through an agency, to pay a bit more through an agency rather than to go directly to the embassy.
Yes, in most of the time when someone try to apply by themselves, they will reject it. Now, when you travel to Iran, do you have any special bad experience in this country?
I would say yes, I did have a bad experience. So I remember I was on my way to Shiraz. And I passed by this lake called the Mahalu Lake. It's a princess, beautiful salt, right? And so I was riding my scooter down. I was like, wow, I want to check out this lake. And then I got my scooter stuck there because the ground became very soft and my scooter sank into the ground. And then I tried to pull out my scooter, but it was too heavy. And then I just went out to ask for help. And so these three men, they came to me and asked for help. So they managed to pull out my scooter from the mud, and then so I thanked them. So okay, the three guys, they left. So I was packing my things. I put the luggage onto my scooter, and then two of them actually came back, and then they asked me, they did this like that.
Oh.
And in the beginning, I didn't know what was the meaning of this. And then I say, no. I say, Berry, Shiraz. I say, I'm going to Shiraz. Then after that, when I went onto the main road, it became very clear. Then the guy, he was like, come. And then he started to grab his crouch, and then he did this again.
Oh my God.
And then I know, then I know what it meant. Then he was asking for sex. And so I was very, very disappointed, and I just rode away. But I would say that is just one of the bad experience. Actually, most of my experience in Iran with men, I find that they are very respectful. But I just guess that in some areas, especially when they're not very used to seeing women by themselves, the street by themselves, they may have the perception that a woman traveling by themselves is very easy. So, but the thing is, should I, because of this one incident, I should not go to Iran? I don't think Iranian people, they are very extremist, they are very religious and all. They can have this perception. But likewise, you know, Iran, some of the people in the country, whatever they know about foreign women is through pornography. And they think that foreign women all are they're very loose and easy, they will want sex. So it really goes both ways because there is not enough exposure.
Yes.
On both sides, right? The rest of the world didn't get to meet Iranians, and Iranians don't get to meet the real world outside. And they have all these ideas about each other, which are not really true.
For the last question, could you tell us about some tips as a woman who start to travel all around the world with motorcycle for all our audience?
Before setting out on a journey, do not seek advice from those who never left home, because a lot of times people, they have their own fears. They do not dare to do certain things because they themselves, they are scared. But if it is something that you really want to do, like traveling, don't get advice from them, because very likely will tell you don't go. Yeah. Like let's say if you want to learn how to ride a bicycle, would you approach someone who has never ridden a bicycle for advice? Or would you ask somebody who has ridden a bicycle for advice? And also, if let's say, especially as a solo women traveler, I guess you have to really learn to draw your boundaries, learn how to say no. Because we are exposed to so many different cultures, if there is something that you are not comfortable to do, okay, you say no. And observe around you, how are the people behaving with women? If that is not something that they do to their local women, don't let them do that to you. I think we need to learn how to say no instead of saying yes all the time.
Yes, exactly. And thank you so much from you to accept my invitation.
Okay,
and hope you see you in Iran absolutely again.
Yes, I hope.
Have a good time. Bye.